See how many things I disagree with that Hector Berrellez says. Right? Let's see if there's anything I agree with. Let's get it.
The Mexican cartels, they put bounties up to $50,000 on the heads of ICE and the
But did they
Custom
though?
and Border Patrol.
But did they though? Or is that just something somebody said and we all ran with it? Did they do that? Did they put 100,000 on somebody's uh on these ice 50,000 on these ice guys' head? How many ice guys got done up? What are we talking about here? All it takes is for one person to say something in the comments on an internet with infinite people saying shit in the comments and we run with it. Shit is weird to me, boy.
Protection. Do you know anything about that?
Absolutely, yes. They have basically offered $5,000 for anybody that kidnaps and takes an ICE agent to Mexico. $10,000 for every ICE agent that they kill, and 50,000 if they kill a high-ranking ICE official. And here we have.
Come on, man. I see high-ranking ICE officials walking down the street, right? I see more police arresting ICE agents and locking them up for DUIs than I do anybody getting snatched up over these bounties. And this shit been going on a long time. So it sounds like hype, man, and everybody jumping on it for views.
Those that want to dismask them, they want their identities exposed, so that these cartels people can kill them. I don't understand that. They have to protect these ICE agents. They're doing a job. They're out there risking their lives.
They're
And yet
dogs. They're dogs. They're dogs. They're opportunists. They're bottom feeders. All right? They want to knock over tamale ladies. Nobody told him he got a tag sticking out of his shirt. You're going to take the shit back later. The least you can do is tuck the tag.
have all these people. Let's unmask them. Let's not cooperate with them. Let's make their job more difficult. Why? Why can't we get along?
Why can't we get along? Have you watched the videos, old man, or your eyes too closed? You can't see. You ain't seen the videos of why we can't get along? Because fuck them. They're German Shepherds. That's all they are. Whack ones. They're not even German Shepherds. Whatever. Think of the sloppiest dog that can't hunt. That's what they are.
You live in California. California just recently passed a law barring federal immigration officers from wearing face masks. Right to your point.
Good.
These face masks are obviously to conceal their identity.
To conceal their identity from what? Police got to conceal their identity? They're in the hood every day. What you hiding your identity from? From your evil. Because you know you on the wrong side. You ashamed. You don't want nobody to know that you the government's lapdog.
Keep them safe while they're doing their job. But it's not just people screaming that they should be unmasked. A law was passed. How do you even make sense of that? Knowing that cartels are putting bounties of up to $50,000.
Where's the bounties? Knowing that. Everybody keeps saying knowing that the cartel put bounties on people's head. How do you know? What do you know about that? Huh? What do you know about that? We saw the mantas. We heard all this talk about how the people of Baja California was in trouble because, we're going to take it out on, the cartels are going to take it out on American people living in Baja, blah, blah, blah. We ain't heard nothing. This is all the internet. The internet is fighting this war and building this war. The people in Sinaloa, those are the people stuck in the middle of a war. The internet is just spreading flames and fire and talking bullshit, including this guy. Just because somebody tweeted, man, I think they're putting 50,000. Where? What has happened to an ICE agent? Has anything happened to an ICE agent? I ain't seen nothing happen to no ICE agents. They've been catching DUIs. I've been seeing that. That's it.
It's because poor governing our political people. What is the purpose of wanting ICE agents arrested? What is their motive of wanting ICE agents killed? What's What's in their heads? I don't understand that.
It's a tag. They got a tag on their head, like you got right here, a tag from the shirt on your head.
They are law enforcement people enforcing our laws. And yet people want to go against them.
They're deputized bigots, bullies, and abusers is what they are. They're not law enforcement doing the law, all this bullshit. They're deputized bullies beating up on old people.
They're ordering their local police departments not to cooperate with them, to even arrest them, the ICE agents, if they see them do anything wrong. And you know what, Sean? I think we're very, very close to a civil.
Deputized cowards. Because Trump said criminals, 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 criminals. Where are the criminals? What other crime than existing here? Where are the criminals? You're already sending the wrong people to Seaside. Well, it's just a bunch of bullshit.
Because you have the people that don't want to enforce these laws, the people that are totally to the left, and then you have the people to the right. There are states that
enforce the laws on the people you said you was going to enforce them on. That's not what you're doing. It's not what you did. And I knew that. The dummies that voted for it didn't. Some did. Some were fooled, duped. They got to back up into a bush now.
Oh, that's a blue state. Oh, that's a red state. What's going to happen? Are the red states going to go to war with the blue states? What road are we walking down?
That's
what signature path are we taking here by all this confrontation? It's got to stop because it's getting worse and worse and worse.
The fuck out of here. I don't believe the whole $50,000 bounty and all of that shit. Ain't nobody collected on that. And motherfuckers is hungry out there, so somebody would have collected on that. To me, everybody wants to get interviewed.
When you wore that badge, I mean, you worked for the DEA for many years. But if you live in Mexico, wore that badge, I can only tell you what I see on the news. But it seems like that.
I'll tell you what you see on the news, Sean Perez. You see a bunch of bullshit. Bunch of bullshit. They're just gassing this up. Mind you, yes, they're horrible. The cartels are horrible. They do horrible shit. These people are selling you extra. They're putting crema on the tacos.
Those damn cartels are stronger than the U.S. government.
Hell no.
Than the Mexican government. Excuse me.
Okay. I agree with. They've proven this. They've proven to be stronger than the Mexican government. They've proven this.
The Mexican armed forces, the army, and so forth. Is there any choice? You know, we talk about these officials taking bribes, but are they taking bribes because they're greedy? Or are they taking bribes because if I don't, I'm going to wind up dead?
I believe it's more that they're greedy, and some of them maybe because they might wind up dead.
Or they might be greedy and end up terminated.
Mayo Zambada, for example, has stated that he wound up dead. Mayo Zambada, for example, has stated that he has paid the last 7 presidential administrations. And I remind you, in Mexico, people are elected for 6 years. So he has stated publicly that he has paid up 6 presidential administrations for a total of 42 years.
So that's not snitching? I paid off. He didn't just snitch on the presidents? I've been paying off politicians and presidents for 42 years. That's not snitching on them? That's not dry snitching in the least? Stop the pick and choosing bullshit, man. Too much bullshit. Bullshit. That's not snitching. I done paid the last 42 years worth of presidents. That's all I got to say. I don't want to say no more. What? Y'all picking and choosing, man. Cut the bullshit. He talked.
He never was arrested in Mexico, never went into a jail cell, because he was not only paying the presidential people or presidents, he was also paying off generals, he was paying off comandantes, state policemen. He was paying everybody off. El Mayo Zambada was the biggest drug lord in the history of drug enforcement. There's been no anybody bigger. But he has publicly stated that it's very expensive to be a big cartel guy in Mexico because you got to pay off everybody. And yes, the Mexican government is a narco state.
Mm.
The narcos run that country.
That's it.
They have for years. And they're very corrupt.
I believe that. You can't be smoking local government, federal government. They're getting smoked on a regular basis in crazy numbers, and that's not a thing. No, they're beat. They're defeated. It's a narco state.
But I will also, not being a hypocrite, say that our government officials here can give the Mexicans lessons on corruption.
I agree. Hey, finally, I agree with Berrellez on something. Finally, our government could give them a lesson on corruption. Yeah, how to do it where you don't look like you part of it, even though we know.
Because we are totally corrupt here too.
Good job, Berrellez. Finally, you said something I could back up.
The last time I sat down with you, you explained why the cartels hadn't been classified as terrorist organizations. But since our last conversation, there's been a couple of cartels, such as the Carteles Unidos, I think that's how you pronounce it, that are now being classified as foreign terrorist organizations. Are you surprised? Is this what you expected with a second term of Trump? And is this where the world is headed? If you are narcos, you better watch out, because you are going to be governed by the same laws as a terrorist organization.
I am very, very, very happy with the fact that he has made them terrorist organizations, because now the law enforcement just doesn't have to arrest them. Before we would arrest them, they would hire big lawyers in the United States to defend him, because they had billions of dollars. They could afford the best law firms to represent him. And a lot of them got off. A lot of them beat the case.
And Sean Perez, you out of pocket for sitting with this dude or whoever was there in studio with him, even if you was over the computer, and not seeing that tag. You out of pocket. You bogus. You not a friend.
Just in court, and went back to dealing drugs again. Now, by making them terrorist organizations,
I could just
the
blow him up.
military is involved. And the military is not there to arrest anybody. They're there to take them out. And as we've seen in the past few months, the Trump administration has blown up 5 drug-carrying ships in the ocean. That's the difference. We've seen in the past few months, the Trump administration has blown up 5 drug-carrying ships in the ocean.
5. Let's try 15. And there might be more since the last time we tallied up the number.
The difference. And this strikes, sends a message back to the cartels. We're not tolerated anymore. It's become a very...
Meanwhile, the cartel's laughing, talking about, they're blowing up the fishermen and shit. This ain't got nothing to do with us.
Serious situation over here. Hundreds of thousands of Americans are dying of fentanyl overdoses and drug overdoses in this country. Look at all...
Okay, but that's not the brocane, man. You talking about Fetty Wap. You might want to talk to China about that.
All the people they kill. The cartel guys not only kill amongst each other, they kidnap people, they castrate them, they cut their heads off, they dismember them. But that's part of it. Look at all the people that they've killed in this country from overdoses of their lethal drugs. They know fentanyl is a deadly drug. They know it. They don't care. They don't care. They're greedy, and they don't care if your son or your daughter, your brother, your uncle dies tomorrow of an overdose. And look at the suffering of our people here. All those homeless that we see in the streets of Los Angeles, walking around like zombies.
Bro, you act like that's not America's problem, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's Americans' problem too, bro. You want to put everything on the criminal and shit. Criminal don't want to take no responsibility, but neither does America. You know what I mean?
This is America.
Urinating on the sidewalks, defecating there also, changing their clothes there in front of the public. Those people most of them are under the influence of drugs. How do you rehabilitate those people? What do you do? So they, meaning the cartel guys and the cartel.
You stop the cartels tomorrow. What, you think those people are going to be magically rehabilitated? You ain't going to do nothing for them then either. This is all virtue signaling. I don't have a side. Somebody comes here and they say, Shy, you're a liberal. Shy, you're a right-winger. I am neither nor. I think the whole thing is a circle jerk. They'd be like, Shy, you sound like you're with the cartels. You sound like you're defending the cartels. Then you sound like you're against the cartels. The cartels are pieces of shit. Right? But I'm not going to not pay attention to the other pieces of shit that are hunting them down. All pieces of shit fall in the same grave as far as I'm concerned. And people are just on the internet to talk shit and stir up views and stir up content and keep people employed. That's what's happening here. Let's talk about it. Buzzwords, buzzwords, buzzwords. 50,000 on ICE agents. I don't believe you. I've seen no proof of it. None. I'm here to expose the fact that everybody's lying to you. To you. It's on you to believe me. And realize that everybody's lying to you. They just want to keep you strung on the leash. They want to keep you strung into the story. It's all bullshit.
They have caused all of this. And we're fed up. We're done.
Done with what, though? Fed up with what? These are your addicts, bro. That's America's problem.
And we're calling on them now. We're calling on the Chinese. Hey, China, we know you're trying to destroy us. Please stop it. Stop producing all these precursor chemicals that you're giving to the Mexican.
Oh, what you want to do? You want to hug? You want to hug China and shit? Hugs, no slugs?
Cartels to poison Americans. It's a silent war that has been declared on us. They don't like us, Sean. They hate us. And I'm talking about the communist countries like China, Cuba, Venezuela. They're not our friends. They want to destroy us.
You know, to your point, just yesterday, there was an airstrike that killed about 6 people on a boat coming to the United States from Venezuela, carrying drugs. Trump, he all but admitted that the CIA is conducting undercover, covert operations overseas, and, you know, they are actively going after these cartels. He's making no secret about it. If you are transporting drugs into the United States, beware. We are literally...
If you're transporting Birkin bags, bootleg Birkin bags, if you're transporting food, if you're transporting medicine, if you're transporting people, if you're transporting avocados, if you're transporting fish, if you're transporting eels, stingrays, whatever you're transporting, get out the water. Sharks in the water can't swim in the pool. They'll blow you up and they'll tell us that you were a drug trafficker.
In our drones, in the days of you bringing that stuff in by water, those days are done. Do you think the message has gotten out to other countries yet?
Absolutely. That's why the Mexican cartels are desperate. They want to fight back. And what are they doing? They're putting, like you said, they're putting prices on
He said, like you said. Well, like who said? Like Sean Press said? Who else said it? Somebody in the comments? The shit turned into a news story? Who said there's 50,000 on ICE's head? Who collected on that? Anybody collect on that? No? Nothing?
No, mommy's wake.
It's of ICE agents. You know? So it is. It's sending a very strong message back that we're not going to put up with them anymore. However, they continue. They insist on still sending their drugs over here. Now, Mexico's been told, either you cooperate with us or we're going to go in and take him out. And the president of Mexico now, Sheinbaum, as you know, has released on 2 occasions numerous major drug lords. Caro Quintero, who killed Kike Camarena, was expelled from Mexico and ended up here in the United States.
Expelled, not extradited. Expelled, like he was in kindergarten, like he was in school. They're expelling people. They don't want to talk about it. Tomorrow morning, everybody's having cupcakes. We're going to talk world peace. Come on, man.
No, mommy's wake.
So yes, it's having a big effect on the cartels, and they're not happy, and they don't like what's occurring to them now.
You said the president, I believe, of Mexico said we're going to deal with the cartels with hugs
Hugs, no slugs.
and not bullets. Do I have that statement? Do I have that correct?
Yes, and I'll bring you back to that conversation. We were talking about the 19 Jehovah Witnesses that were murdered by the Sinaloa cartel. Remember, there was a group of religious people that were traveling from Utah to attend a wedding in Mexico, and they were all women and children in that, and there was a caravan of Americans going down there. The cartels, who were upset at the religious group because they weren't paying bribes to them, they ended up killing like 13 women and children, and they also burned 3 babies that were in their baby chairs.
We gotta look up that story. I know they went to war with the Mormons. I just don't remember that story in particular.
At that point, it was President Trump who went to the president of Mexico, Lopez Obrador, who is no longer in power, and said, hey, we got to do something about this. We got to do war, declare war on the cartels. This is horrible what they just did to these Americans. And that's when Lopez Obrador informed or stated to President Trump, that's what we don't want. We don't want a war over here. We're going to basically attack these cartels with hugs. Abrazos, no balazos. Hugs, not bullets. Publicly stated it.
Kindergarten shit.
And obviously he
School
totally
teacher
corrupt.
shit.
Totally on the take of the cartels. And he totally corrupt. Totally on the take of the cartels. And did nothing, by the way, nothing to arrest and bring to accountability those that assassinated those Americans.
These boats that are being taken out by the Trump administration off of the international waters in Venezuela, are they carrying drugs provided by the Mexican cartels?
Nobody knows what they're carrying. Nobody knows who it came from, where it was going, none of that. They know there was a boat in the water. That's it.
Those drugs could have originated.
Coulda, shouldas, wouldas. Only the government knows, and they ain't gonna tell you. But everybody's gonna assume that they had surveillance and they know that it was exactly what was exactly on there. No, somebody else said no. It's after 6 o'clock. There shouldn't be a boat in the water. Boom, and they blow that shit up.
Out of Mexico, and it could have been sent. Those drugs could have originated out of Mexico, and it could have been sent to Venezuela, and from Venezuela they were coming to the States. I don't know, but that they had drugs, that's 100%. They were drug-laden boats. And oh well, I mean, they blew them up, and the people that were the drug traffickers that were in those boats perished.
And I ask you that question because we hear so much about the Mexican cartels. But we're seeing there's now been 6 strikes, but it's all been taking place in Venezuela against Venezuelan narcos. Is there a reason for that as opposed to going directly after, Mexican cartels on Mexican soil?
There's a reason why. Maduro, who is a communist in Venezuela, basically will not talk or deal with the United States. So he's just sending boats full of drugs to the U.S. Now, the Mexican government has been put on point by the current administration and has been told, if you don't cooperate with the United States to fight against the cartels, we are going to go in and take him out in Mexico. So the current president, Claudia Sheinbaum, has agreed to cooperate, and as I stated before, on 2 occasions has expelled major drug lords to the U.S. To be tried here for drug trafficking. So the Mexican government is talking to the United States and is cooperating to a good extent in the war against drugs. as where Maduro in Venezuela is not. That's the difference.
That's the difference. Mexico's on point and Maduro's not. He's just gonna send these rug boats. Okay, if you say so. In a world where your data is the product, best move is to disappear. That's why I use NordVPN. Military-grade encryption, blazing fast servers, and access to content blocked in my region. Whether you're streaming, working, or just browsing, NordVPN makes sure that you're anonymous and safe. Go to nordvpn.com/ILL or click the link in the description for huge discounts. Lock your privacy in before someone locks you out.
Those boats are literally being blown up in front of our eyes. If you are bringing drugs into the United, this is the risk you're taking. At any given moment, you could be alive, and the next moment, you could be dead. Because the Mexican government is so corrupt for so many years, and I gotta believe, no matter how you were turned, no matter what your reasoning was for taking that money from the cartels, after a while, it becomes a revenue stream for you. You start to, just like anybody else. I got money coming in every Friday or every other week. I depend on this money now. How do you think the Mexican government is reacting? Because just like the narcos, the actual government, their revenue is being jeopardized.
Yes, it is. And it is. Like right now, a lot of the Mexican Army generals that were being paid, let's say on a monthly basis, are not being paid. And it's affecting them because they got used to getting that kind of money. So yes, it's affecting all of that. And that's why I believe that Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, is in danger herself, because the cartels are basically forcing her and requesting that she not cooperate with the United States as far as combating drugs. So I believe she's between a rock and a hard place. Here she is trying to placate the generals who are basically taking money from the cartels. And she's trying to also please the United States. So she's in a real delicate situation.
And that's why we question what she knows and what she doesn't know. Is she in bed? Does she know everything that happened? I'm sure nobody can know everything that's happened. But she got to know that hugs, no slugs. And that's probably just her way of saying, my name's Bennett and I ain't in it. You know what I mean? Hugs, no slugs ain't going to do it.
Before she became the president, I want to say this was the bloodiest election season in the history of Mexico. There was something like 13 people running for presidency who, if I got my facts correct, and I'll look it up, that were actually killed. So why would, first and foremost, why would anybody run for president in that country? And secondly, to your point, she's got to know she's caught between a rock and a hard place, because if you don't play ball with the cartels, you're dead. And at this point, if you do play ball with the cartel, you have the U.S. that is swinging a hell of a stick that's saying we're coming after you.
That is why I stated before that she's in a very, very delicate situation. She has to, basically, to some extent, please the cartels, or else you're right, they could take her out.
Yeah, she does.
At the same time,
hugs all around.
She's got to, cooperate with the United States in our war on drugs. I wouldn't want to be in her situation. And you're right. They've killed, I don't know how many presidential candidates in Mexico in the last 2 years. And look at all the journalists that have been assassinated in Mexico. Look, they're killed every day.
Yeah, in Mexico, you done lost your handle to this shit a long time ago.
I got to ask, why would anybody want that position? Why would anybody want to be the president?
Forget the president. Why would anybody want to be a councilman? Why would anybody want to be a journalist? Why would anybody want to be a lemon union boss? Why would anybody want to be a mayor, a sheriff? It's rough in Mexico, man. There's no incentive to do anything for the people.
If there's a good chance you'll never make it into office. You'll be killed long before there's an election. And with that being said, how do you think she made it all the way to becoming the president?
Well, because she comes from the same party that the former president came from Morena. And I believe that it was agreed, probably with the cartels, that she would play ball with them once she became president, not knowing that Donald Trump was going to win because she came in before Donald Trump. And thinking maybe things were going to be the same as they were under the past administration.
Business as usual. That shit didn't happen with Trompito. Trompito came in there pushing buttons and shit, all in their bubble.
I'm in your bubble. I'm in your bubble.
And here comes Trump with his big baseball bat saying, "Hey, we're taking out the cartel, guys." So, I mean, she's like I said, she's in a dangerous position there.
Nah, she really is. I wouldn't want to be her. And to your point, there are reporters, there are journalists. I mean, the Mexican cartels has made it very clear nobody's off limits.
That is correct.
Literally,
nobody's
off
off limits in
limits.
Mexico nor here. They kill people here too. And I am 100% convinced too that they have government officials, they're bribing government officials in this side of the fence also. That they're
See, but nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody talks about government officials taking cartel money in the United States. Nobody wants to talk about with ICE. Oh, they're upholding the law, right? I haven't seen one person that hired any undocumented workers be arrested by ICE. Not one. Not one. You show me one. I dare you. Huh? Oh, they're just people doing their job, upholding the law. What part of the law is these people that's hiring them then, huh? If you going after everybody, right? Why they ain't getting it?
This is America.
bribing U.S. government officials as well.
Why are you so convinced?
Because why are we so lax on drug dealers here? People get arrested for selling drugs and there's hardly any punishment.
You wildin'. There's people that been lifetime in jail for something that's legal now and in stores. Cut the bullshit. No mama's way.
No mommy's way.
You mentioned his name earlier, but you also mentioned his name every time you and I have sat down and had a conversation. Ismael El Mayo Zambada Garcia. You told me he was the boss of bosses. El Chapo, who most of the world knows as the head of the Sinaloa cartel, was nothing more. I believe your words was he's a clown. But this guy was a real boss. Now, he's been arrested, and he actually just pled guilty to drug-related charges. What's your thoughts on that?
El Mayo Zambada was the boss of bosses. And he ran the biggest cartel empire in the history of drug enforcement. He is cooperating with the U.S. Or else I would think he would be facing maybe even the death penalty because he is the most powerful drug lord, but yet he's not. I think he faced
Finally, something else we could agree on. I think he's talking too. I think he talked in front of everybody.
the RICO and CCE charges, CCE continual criminal enterprise charges, which don't carry a death penalty. So it tells me, and I suspect, and I don't know, that he is highly cooperating with the United States. And as I stated before, he has stated that he has paid off 7 past Mexican presidential administrations. That's 42 years, Sean. And he's not a millionaire. He is a multi-billionaire. And there's 1,000 million and 1 billion. That's how much money the guy's worth.
Whoa. I'm actually very, very surprised to hear you say you believe he is cooperating.
I am too.
This man has, El Mayo's now in his 70s. He has ruled with an iron fist in the shadows. You know, most people didn't even know he existed. I remember hearing you say his name And I actually had to go look him up because that was just not a name I was used to hearing. You heard about El Chapo, you heard about the Chapitos, but you never really heard about El Mayo. And if you did hear it, it was a passing. Even in the Netflix series Narcos, he had a very, very very small part. They mentioned him, but didn't really mention him.
Well, that was a certain time frame. That was at a certain time, and it's Hollywood.
So are you surprised that him of all people would be cooperating?
No, not at all. Because all humans want to live. And he could have been charged, basically sentenced to death. He's in his 70s, as you stated. He's very sick suffers from diabetes. And he was tired of all the, and he stated himself, he was tired of all the pressure he was exposed to in Mexico, having to keep the government all paid up, paying everybody off. And not only that, remember, he just wasn't distributing drugs to the U.S. All of Europe, he inundated all of Europe. Russia. I mean, this guy was selling drugs to all kinds of countries and nations. He was huge, extremely huge. But you know what? You only have one life. You can only spend so much. And when you're sick the way he was, how could he enjoy his money anymore? So he's here, and he doesn't want to die. So makes sense. He'll cooperate, and he's cooperating.
Yeah, but his
And I
cheerleaders won't
suspect-
admit to that. You got to admit to that if that's what he does, if that's what he did. I feel like he gave you the green light with that right there in the courtroom. I done paid off everybody. I implicated everybody. One life.
That the administration of Pam Bondi is going to go after some of these past presidents and charge them with basically drug charges on them.
Good luck.
In July, I believe it was earlier this year, July 2025, Ovidio Guzman Lopez, which is one of El Chapo's sons. He was on that same airplane that brought El Mayo
Joaquin.
to the States, where they were arrested, and I believe they were arrested somewhere
That was
in
Joaquin.
Texas.
Ovidio was already in custody.
There's been a lot of talks that this was not a random trip that El Mayo took, and it was all set up by Ovidio, diverting the plane to U.S. soil.
Okay.
Do you believe there's any truth in that?
Okay. The son that brought him over was Joaquin
There
Guzman
you go.
Lopez,
Good job.
one of El Chapo's sons.
No, it's Joaquin. Got you.
It was Joaquin, Sean. So Joaquin had to have been cooperating with the FBI and DEA
Absolutely.
and agreed to betray him and kidnap him and have him brought to
Absolutely.
the U.S. the way he was brought.
I agree.
The DEA and the FBI didn't just hear about it when he was flying him in.
Exactly. I've been saying that since it happened. They didn't just show up when the plane crossed. They knew that plane was crossing. They knew they had to be there. They knew what it was. They always did.
This was a planned operation.
Who was the pilot? Hashtag who was the pilot?
I know I planned those type of operations with the DEA myself. It was a secret
Here's
operation.
what you couldn't plan or figure out was how that tag would attack your whole interview the way it has. Right? That you didn't realize that part.
Joaquin Guzman Lopez agreed to cooperate and brought him over. Yes, El Mayo was tricked into getting into the plane. Now here you are, El Mayo, okay? Here you are, El Mayo, and you're just gonna go for a spin in a plane being flown by an American. Are you kidding me? He was forced onto that plane.
Of course.
I mean, El Mayo has jets at his disposal. He's got helicopters at his disposal. He has his own private pilots. This man wasn't just going to get on that plane. Oh, come on, let's go for a spin in this American plane with being blown by an American pilot. Number one, he doesn't need it. He has his own jets. He was forced on that plane. At one point, he met Juan Guzman Lopez, and at that point he was. At one point, he met Juan Guzman Lopez, and at that point he was taken by force, and I understand his bodyguards were executed, and then he was put on that plane and brought to the United.
And the other two, they just broke out. They went to go get Las Cocas. They failed. They came back. The whole shit had happened. Remember, we heard about those guys. They wore masks and they talked to Milenio. Everybody's on the internet lying about what they did and didn't do.
I don't know if that's the truth, but that's what's being put out. Here's another point, John. When the plane lands in New Mexico, the plane bringing in El Mayo Zambada, DEA and FBI and CIA are waiting at that little unknown airstrip there in New Mexico. The pilot, they say, escaped. What a laugh.
Wow. The pilot escaped. I told you what he do. Did he jump out the window and then jump the fence? Jumped the fence, went back home? Come on, stop, man.
No, mommy's wake.
The pilot, they say, escaped. I want to laugh. That's what they put out. The pilot escaped. They don't know who the pilot is. You laugh, I laugh too, but that's the version that they put out. So it was a planned operation. Obviously, El Chapo himself and his son, Joaquin, were working with the U.S. government, and they cooperated in capturing the biggest drug lord of the world, El Mayo Zambada.
I agree with him on that.
I wasn't always here.
I agree with him on that, and you cheerleaders just got to face it, man. All of your boys work with the police. Everybody that you love and you want to, puro this one, puro that one, puros chotas, puro snitches, you know. So stop. They're not worried about you judging them. Just stop pretending that that's your life. It's not your life.
Wouldn't this be? I mean, it's not like these cartels are known for being diplomatic. So Joaquin betraying El Mayo, the biggest drug dealer in the world, he has to know my family, my loved ones. Everybody's going to be wiped off the face of this planet if it's found out. But number two,
they've been doing this to each other. They know this is what it is. They betray each other. That's what they're built on. Betrayal.
Two, I was going to ask you, what would his father think? His father is locked up in a supermax prison in Denver, Colorado. He took...
By that point, Mayo's sons had already testified, and his brother had already testified against Pocha.
He's locked down for 23 hours a day. And to my knowledge, he didn't tell on anybody. He took it. I will die in a federal prison. Are you saying that you believe El Chapo knew about this plan ahead of time?
I don't know, but I believe so. He had to have. His son is also facing charges. Joaquin himself. He was wanted off.
Listen, he probably knew. He didn't have to know. They had already had conversations with their sons years before. When the shit hits the fan, make a deal. They knew that. So he didn't have to know the plan. He just, had to know that his sons already knew they had the green light on the Zambada side and on the Guzman side. But you guys want to believe everybody stand up. They didn't stand up.
Also, and something was worked out. I don't know what the deal was, what the arrangement was with the government, El Chapo and his son Joaquin. Everybody makes a deal. Okay, everybody wants to make a deal when they get caught. Okay, you caught me, but I'll give you this and I'll give you that in return. I know I've been there. Okay, So everybody wants to cut a deal. I'm sure that a deal was cut, and I don't know what they gave secretly. El Chapo Guzman, like you stated, who is supposedly in Max. Maybe he's not in Max. Who knows where he really is? We don't know what the Bureau of Prison does. They could have put him in a location where he wants to be, where his family can visit him. We don't know that. We assume he's in Max, but do we really know? I know because we used to do that kind of stuff when I was with DEA. We can't let you out, but we can make it comfortable for you. Cooperate with us. And I don't know this is the case. But knowing how we worked and how the U.S. government works, they might have cut a deal with El Chapo and his son, and I think they did. I believe they did.
Okay, so to the first part of my question, wouldn't that be Joaquin, El Chapo himself? Wouldn't that be signing the death certificate of everyone you know?
I know that Ovidio came over with 17 family members and they came to Tijuana. So they brought 17 family members right after that through Tijuana down here so that they would not be massacred.
Okay, El Chapo, I believe, has 4 sons. We just spoke about 2 of them, Ovidio and Joaquin.
And by the time they brought them down, shit had already hit the fan.
The 4 sons make up the Chapitos. There's also Ivan and there's Jesus Alfredo.
Right.
To this day, from what I understand, those 2 are still powerful figures in the Sinaloa cartel. Is that not accurate?
No, they're in Mexico, but they have left the Sinaloa cartel and joined the Cartel Nueva Generación, which is an opposition cartel, and they're working with El Mencho, who runs the Nueva Generación cartel, who is currently warring against the Sinaloa cartel, which is being run by El Mayo Flaco, which is El Mayo's son. And there's a constant war going on between them. There's hatred between them because of these situations that have occurred over here. That's what's going on in Mexico. And to this day, they're killing each other every day. They have wars over there.
So you believe, if I'm understanding this correctly, as part of an insurance, the 2 brothers left in Mexico switch sides for their own protection.
They had to, Sean, or else they would have been killed by El Mayo's son.
They wouldn't call it switch sides. They call it we made an alianza. We're a union now. And all you guys that used to hate the other guy, y'all switched. Oh, wait, they're friends now? Okay, I guess we're cool then. Miss me with that bullshit, man.
They're not happy with each other. And I will remind you that when they tried El Chapo, Vicentillo Zambara testified against him, and also El Rey, El Mayo's brother, who was locked up over here at the time, they both testified against El Chapo Guzman, which initially caused the bad blood between them.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, so what do you believe happens to El Mayo? He pled guilty. You know, does he get shipped back to Mexico? Do they give him a comfortable place here?
He gets shipped back to Mexico.
Listen,
he's on the street in 3 days.
You're going to spend the rest of your life in a federal prison, but we'll make it comfortable for you, so long as you keep talking. Is this what the end for him looks like, or is he in Supermax?
I believe that's going to be the end for him. That's what it looks like. They're going to make him comfortable for his cooperation. They won't let him go. He can't be let go. The world would basically be upset.
The world don't give a shit.
If the biggest drug lord was sent back to Mexico or was released.
So these big wars, but it's the same thing when they make the deals. What do you think? The United States government cares about innocent people's lives? Nah, you do a deal with them, they'll make like them bodies never happened, give you 12 years and send you on your way.
Will do life comfortably in some U.S. prison as long as he cooperates.
So we managed to agree on a couple of things not so much. I do agree that Hugs No Slugs is a joke. It's just a grammar school principal's way to hide behind the rock and a hard place that she's stuck in. I was surprised to hear him say that he believes that Mayo's talking. I believe he's talking too. He's just too sold on the boats being trafficking boats. It is what it is. The winner of this interview is the tag. The tag took over. And he's also somebody that thinks that it's hilarious that we don't know who the pilot was. Who was the pilot, huh? Pilot jumped out the window and hit the fence on their ass and ran back to Mexico. Is that what happened? Cut the bullshit.
Bullshit. Mm-hmm.